Yeah, I really appreciate everybody being here today. You know, it's a big week for us with recruiting signing day, early signing period coming up on Wednesday. And with that coming up on Wednesday, I wanted to have that day be about our recruits and the celebration of some new Eagles coming on board, and wanted to give you the opportunity as media and a fan base to be able to talk a little bit about our coaching staff that's currently with us right now, and make that the focus today. And as we go to Wednesday, make it about the recruiting celebration. You know, in entering over the last basically 3.5 weeks of being able to, one, evaluate the staff, the previous staff, being able to form relationships with our players, and keeping a lot of our older players and super seniors here with us, being able to see our needs and evaluating across the country coaches that not only have an interest, but elite platinum coaches, being able to acquire them. It's been a busy couple of weeks. Going into the coaching hires, there were basically 5 questions that I ask myself anytime that I hire somebody. The first is it a person of elite character? I believe that we are in the relationship business and trust business as far as player-coach relationship. So we always want to be able to make first and foremost that we're bringing in elite character people. The second thing is the ability to develop, and have the knowledge and competency to raise that development to the highest level for our players. Third is a care and concern, to be able to care for the student athlete on and off the field. Fourth, and it's one of the most important things, is the ability to be brutally honest with the player and be able to say, hey, this is your strengths and this is your area of growth. And then lastly, as we all know, we're in the business of recruiting. I'm a lot better coach when we got great players around us, and so the ability to recruit at a high level, especially in our recruiting footprint, was very important to me. And so, in that being said, I'm very proud of what we've done, not only in our personnel staff, being able to hire a general manager in Ryan Smith from Auburn to be with us, to be able to get a elite head strength and conditioning coach in Robert Steiner to come with us, somebody that has been at the likes of LSU and Notre Dame and Mississippi State and Cincinnati and USC, to come with me, elite platinum standard strength and conditioning coach, to be able to formulate our leadership on offense with Brian Ellis, as well as requiring some assistance in that area with Ephraim Reed and Ryan Applin, to be able to see our special teams leadership and really focus on being able to make that a high priority in that phase as we improve from last year to this year. In that phase, we saw down the stretch how that can affect games. And so to bring Turner West, who has had the opportunity to be in the NFL 4 years with the Dallas Cowboys and train under Rod Marinelli and Rich Bisaccia, is something that's truly special to bring him on board. There's going to be more announcements. I can't wait for that to be able to happen. At the end of the day, remember the highest priority is getting the right people and the right fit for us. And remember, a lot of the elite people that are out there are still playing football games, whether it's the NFL or whether it's college, and they have responsibilities to their own team. And I'll respect that. We've done a tremendous job with the recruiting staff that was already here. Coach Whitley is another one I'm so proud to be able to have with us. He fits every one of those categories. He's really helped us, as you will see on Wednesday, on the defensive side of the ball. The job that he has done with the relationships that he's had in the state has helped us, and then to be able to have a main point of emphasis with our offensive staff to really have the core already here has been great. So, with that, it's a exciting week as more announcements come with the coach staff. I promise you I'll get them to you as fast as humanly possible, like we've done as soon as we've hired somebody through the HR process, which is its own own attribute of going through with the state of Georgia and making sure that we do everything the right way. I promise you I will get it to you. The biggest thing is getting the right people and the right fit and be ready to go come January when our team reports back on January 10th. We'll have everybody in place at that time. With that, I'll take any questions that you have. Yeah, I'm so proud to have Brian here with us. In looking at the job, I know that we are extremely strong on the offensive line as well as our runners, and really wanted to improve our passing game, especially down the field and the explosiveness of the passing game. And when you look at that area, let's go get the number one passing offense in the country. Right now, and with a guy that I know and have worked with, and not only seen his ability to evaluate offensive skill players, develop offensive skill players, be a Georgia native right here from Peach County, and be very well known in our recruiting footprint, but be a part of a system that was elite in the passing game. With my experience, and I'm going to be in the offensive room also, my experience, I've always been, good in the run game. I believe in physical football, but I also believe in taking what the defense gives you, and not being stubborn. If you want to be a too high football team, drop 8 football team, you may get 60, 70 runs in a game. If you want to play man coverage every snap, then you're probably going to get more passes in a game. I do believe in the physicality of the game. I think that we have elite runners here. I think we have an elite offensive line, and I expect balance. And based on what the defense is giving us, I expect a coordinator to be able to adjust and a play caller to be able to adjust. That's what we always talk about. If they're loading the box, then you're probably going to see more passes. If they're playing coverage, then you're probably going to see a lot of runs and a lot of physicality runs. So, being an O-line coach's son by trade, I take a lot of pride in the ability to develop physical run game and keep the quarterback upright, or my dad's going to be really mad at me for that. But we will have great balance. And I wanted to be able to make sure that we improved our passing game, and I wanted to be able to bring the best in there. And so when I'm looking at it and go, well, who's the best in the world at it right now? It was really, Brian being at Western Kentucky and what they're doing, especially the explosiveness.
Andrew Goldstein with WSAV. Brian obviously worked with your brother over at Western Kentucky. What did Tyson tell you about Brian? I'm sure you went back and forth to try to get some information.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that you have to have in formulating a staff is the right chemistry and the right fit. So it wasn't a ton of question marks because I've known Brian for a long time. He's played for my dad. He's coached for me at USC. I got to physically watch him. I watched him and Tyson go to Western Kentucky and turn a 3-win team into 3 straight bowl games and becoming the number one passing offense in the country last year. So there wasn't a lot of guessing game, and there was great chemistry between him and I, and it was the right fit. He is the right character. He can develop. He does have a care and concern for the players. He has great leadership skills, and he can recruit at an extremely high level, and really has helped us over the last, he's been here about a week, and what he's already done, especially in these last recruiting weekends, has been phenomenal. You're going to see some really skilled athletes come in here on Wednesday that you're going to be really happy about. There really wasn't a guessing game there. Obviously, Tyson and I always lean on each other, and share thoughts and ideas. But we know Brian. As a family, we know Brian and got a lot of trust in him.
How did your brother feel about you being his offensive coordinator?
Well, when he left me at USC, he went to go be the offensive coordinator at Tennessee and then the head coach at Western Kentucky. He took a couple from me at that time, and so I know he's happy for Brian, and having the opportunity to be here. It's always something that we've always shared thoughts together about, and always have had his blessing on everything, and he has my blessing when he took mine. So we always lean on each other in that attribute.
It seems like a lot of the hires so far have been on the offensive side of the ball between Brian, Ryan, and Ephraim. Did you come in with the mentality that you wanted to fill out that offensive staff first, or was that just kind of the way it worked?
No, it was really in deciding to keep Coach Whitley with us and make him not only our corners coach but our assistant head coach. I knew that there was going to be a lot of the help in the relationships already on the defensive side of the ball, and a lot of the coordinators that I'm looking at on the defensive side of the ball, some of them are still playing. And there's going to be, I always allow the coordinators to have a sense of ownership in the assistant coaches that they bring in, so there is a great chemistry there. in having Coach Witt, I knew that one, the relationships was going to be maintained on that side of the ball. He had relationships with every defensive player that we were recruiting. I knew between myself and him that we could finalize an early signing date, and we could give ourselves time to be able to get the best coordinator, maybe not the one that was available right at the time, but when they get finalized in playing, that we're able to bring in and bring in the right person for us. So it's something that I think has worked very well as far as recruiting goes when you see it, and we look forward to the day that we're able to announce the rest of our staff as we go into the second signing day. I mean, we always jostle back and forth. We have brotherly competitions, but no, he was happy for Brian. You got to remember, Brian is from this area. His family is from this area, so the ability to get back home and do what he loves is also a special thing. And the ability to be in a good situation with somebody he's worked with, and to be at Georgia Southern at this time and having a chance to lead an offense that we're really excited about here, and that transition from option football to a more balanced attack is something that he was excited about as a challenge. So I know Tyson is excited for him, one personally, but two professionally.
That wasn't the only coach you lost, right? So.
Yes, yeah, he's lost a couple. That's usually what happens when you have really good years. Is people try to acquire your guys.
You've been a coach a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and when you came in as head coach at Southern Cal, I think you had the interim before that.
Mm-hmm.
So is this the first chance that you've been able to put a staff together from top to bottom?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, each and every year when I was interim, there was some transitional items that took place when I had to develop a defensive staff that first time around, and offense, to be honest with you. So it was putting a staff together. There were some coaches that were previous on that staff, but to start from basically scratch and be able to lean on Coach Witt in that, I thought was important. When you're trying to hire 9 out of 10 new coaches, and a strength staff and a personnel staff and operations staff, it takes a little time, and you want to make sure you're getting the right people that fit Georgia Southern and fit what we're about. So at the end of the day, if you rush into something and you're not 100% sure, it could bite you on the back end. And so I think we've done a wonderful job in the people that we've acquired. I think everybody's going to be really happy with the future names that come about. But it is something that I think that you have to do your due diligence. And I'm a patient guy, and so I'm more interested in getting the right people rather than rushing something.
So I'm going to ask you anyway, do you have any kind of deadline for hiring a defensive coordinator by a certain week of a certain month?
Yeah, like I said earlier, the number one priority is, and now that we're going to be done with recruiting, the number one priority is to have our full staff in on our January 9th team meeting, be able to let our guys know exactly who's starting out with them. And at that point in time, all games will be done, as far as college-wise. There may be some pro games that are still going on, but I'm hoping that to be able to announce everybody at that point in time. And probably will be a little bit earlier, but my goal is to be able to have everybody in and be ready to go when we start the winter conditioning program.
Coach Amy from WJCL ABC Savannah, going off of that question too, just when you think about it, over the span of just 1 week, 7 people were named to your staff. From when you were named head coach to now, just simply, how are you feeling?
I'll be honest with you, I'm having a blast, and it was kind of Nathan's question. Just to be able to start from the ground up has been a lot of fun. It started with, just basically getting here and having the chance to eval, not only the players but the coaches and what was a fit for us, and then building relationships with everybody in the building, especially the players, to be able to, some of those super seniors and guys that are deciding whether to go to the NFL or come back, and to be able to develop relationships with them so they can make the best decision for themselves. That's taken a lot of time. To be able to garner the best names in the country, to be able to bring here and to be able to go through that process and to be able to show Georgia Southern and what a great, unbelievable place it is has been. And then you're talking about having to have 3.5 weeks and sign an early signing class. It's basically get in here before the sun comes up and don't leave until you can't hold your eyes open. But they'll be it's been worth every second because we're bringing really quality people in here, both player and coach wise. Still got some remaining work to do, but I'm having an absolute blast with it. This is why I came, was just this unbelievable opportunity, this great challenge, and to be able to start something new. And it's been really exciting.
Coach, when you were at USC,
Mhm.
budget was fairly limitless as far as
Mhm.
going out and getting who you wanted to.
Mhm.
At Georgia Southern, you're having to work within the restraints of a lot smaller budget.
Mhm.
Have you been frustrated at all with being able to, maybe a few people that you wanted to, you weren't able to bring in because of what you were able to pay them?
No, you'd be absolutely surprised, to be honest with you, because I believe there's value in the quality of place that you're at. And that's what I've found through this process. You never know in going in. And one of the things that I'm proud of, and one of the reasons I took the job, was the investment that Kyle and Jared made, in upping the resources as far as the coaching budget and what we were able to acquire. So I'm appreciative for that. But as going through the process, I'll be honest with you, one, the respect that this place has of the tradition of excellence to the community, and how strong it is. I've been showing coaches that the video of the last home game and that environment, and people are like blown away. To be able to have a 3-win team at that point in time and to see that environment was just awesome. And the value of being able to live in a great place like Statesboro, be able to grow a family up right here, to see the community, to see the strength of this place. There's value in that, and relationships. The ability that some of these guys that are in here already, I have strong relationships with that were like, Coach, I want to be with you. So. One, I appreciate there has been an upgrade in the budget for coaching staff. Know that, and I'm appreciative of that for Kyle and Jared. That was one of the things we talked about in taking the job. And then I see the continued investment that coaches are seeing right now to be able to have the new indoor facility that is now a full commitment and ready to start in March and will be finalized hopefully by the 1st of next year as far as being built. People see the investment that's being made into the program. So I'll be honest with you, it's been actually easy. It's been a great sell. Good question, but that's good information for everybody to know that there's been a true commitment to the program.
Your background as well?
Huge position, and probably more investment. That from whether it's financially, whether it's getting the right person, I think that everybody's going to be really excited at the end of the day. I know it's the most important position for me, other than the coordinators, just because I know how important it is both in pass and run game, and being an O-line coach's son, and being a coordinator for a long time. That is the one position that kind of sets your physicality and sets your demeanor. And I think when that individual is named, I think a lot of folks are going to go, "Wow, that's really neat." And that's a guy that has won a lot of elite experience, but too has been successful.
As far as the defense goes, you're out there recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's somebody who you've got earmarked as a defensive coordinator because they may want to run a 3-4 or 4-3, depending on their front, depends on the personnel you go out and get for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I tell you what, it's a great question. It's one of and just being brutally honest, it's one of the things that I've looked into and being able to talk to coordinators is making sure that it fits what we've recruited. You got to imagine the last 4 years have been a 3-4 base that goes to 4 down on third downs. And what I don't want to do is all of a sudden you look up and we've changed completely and we can't have instant success because we're making such a wholesale change. So that has been something that I've looked into. It's been something that the candidates that I have been talking to that have that multiple front of that fits our personnel is something that is extremely important in being able to visit with coaches. So it's a great question, and it's something that I guess I have definitely looked into, and it's been a strong consideration that the coordinator fits what we currently have on our field right now, and what we've recruited to in this recruiting cycle.
Right now, how do you feel about your recruiting as far as how many guys you think you're gonna be bringing in the transfer portal? How many are gonna be true freshmen that are gonna be expected?
Yeah, so I think one, I can't wait till Wednesday. I think people are going to say, one, they're going to be pleasantly surprised with, wow, how did they get that done in a three-week period of time? Two, I think they're going to be excited by the commitment, which I originally said to the state of Georgia in my opening press conference, and making those commitment to the rural areas and really digging down deep and finding those kids that have been maybe overlooked in the past. Two, the next competing and flipping some guys that may be committed to other places. And so I think there's going to be on Wednesday an excitement about what we're doing. Now, there is a balance. You're going to see, I believe that in taking this job and having the chance to evaluate, and it was another thing that I thought was extremely important that Jared gave us, was that progressive mindset to allow me to get in here for 3 weeks and see our needs, and see, okay, we can bring young kids in because we may have some older players at that position, and be able to really dive in. Now, in certain areas of need, that's where you go to the portal. So you're going to see a little bit of a balance of this compared to some opportunities to fill some needs at a later date, because obviously when you're talking about transfer students, they actually, you can say they're coming, but until they step on campus, they're not bound, so it's actually who comes in January, as well as another cycle. Usually that happens after spring ball. You usually see a really high point after the season, then it dips down, and then you see another high point right after spring football. And so we'll save some opportunities there to be able to garner some needs, especially as when we get to actually physically work with our kids in spring. We want to be able to save some opportunities to garner some young men that could possibly come in to help us for the 22 season.